break the window and I fell down to my knees. There God, turn around, coming back for more. I do believe he's taking off full speed and locked the door. Lord, well, take another drink. The next round is on me. Tequila, whiskey, beer, or gin. I don't care what you think. I'm getting drunk again, and it won't be long. No, it won't be long. No, it won't be long. He stole my champagne bottle and my lucky silver cross. My baby gave him to me and I can't believe they're lost. Wish I could remember where I was when this began. Another drink, I start to think the bottle is my friend. My friend. My friend. Long black limousine, won't you drive me home? I've been drinking all damn day, and now I got to go. Now if you see that limousine driving down the street, take my advice, no, don't think twice. Call the state police. Oh. Well, take another drink. The next round is on me. Tequila, whiskey, beer, or gin. I don't care what you think. I'm getting drunk again, and it won't be long. No, it won't be long. No, it won't be long. No, it won't be long. Oh, take another drink. The next round is on me. Tequila, whiskey, beer, or gin. I don't care what you think. I'm getting drunk again, and it won't be long. No, it won't be long. No, it won't be long. No, it won't be long. Oh, no, it won't be long. No, it won't be long. No. Take another drink. The next round is on me. Tequila, whiskey, beer, or gin. I don't care what you think. I'm getting drunk again, and it won't be long. No, it won't be long. No, it won't be long. Oh, take another drink. The next round is on me. Tequila, whiskey, beer, or gin. I don't care what you think. I'm getting drunk again, and it won't be long. No, 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 it won't be long.
It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. Across the web, on Fight Now TV, and on radio stations around the world. It's the only daily boxing talk radio show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of boxing talk radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C studio in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero. It's time for Talking Boxing with Billy C. Good morning, good day, good evening. Whenever you listen, hope you're doing all right. Got a busy show scheduled for you today, of course, as usual. But Foist. Today's show is being brought to you in part by The Gentleman Boxer. That's right, The Gentleman Boxer. A great read. Written by Ian Grumeza. It's a story of Joe Grimm and some other great fighters of the 1920s. It's a must-read, man, and you got to get yourself a copy. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. And speaking of that, coming from the pages of The Gentleman Boxer, tomorrow's Blast from the Past is going to feature Charles Bud Taylor, who is also a bantamweight. In the book, Ian talks about that. Check it out on Ian's website, www.iangrumeza, that's IONGRUMEZA.com, or you can get a copy by visiting our website, www.BillyCBoxing.com, and click on one of the Gentleman Boxer banners. Can't miss those. Also, the show's being brought to you in part by the Titty Grab game. It's an adult game, break the ice, all that happy stuff. And I actually was playing it over my man John's house over the weekend. So definitely check that one out. I'm sure you will enjoy it. We were trying to figure, is this a real? Anyway, check it out, www.tittygrab.com. I got to check something here. Yeah, something. Maybe that's better. Yeah, I think that's a little better. I had some weird thing going on in my headset, but anyway, apologize for that. Coming up later on the show, we're going to be talking about, of course, the Manny Pacquiao fight. And his unfortunate, I think he got a similar letter in the mailbox from his government, the way I got one from mine. And basically, he had all his money frozen. He had all his money frozen over the, after the fight. The Philippine version of the IRS claims he owes boatloads of cash. So we'll have to wait and see what that is all about. We'll talk about that. Also, of course, the Carl Froch, George Groves fight, and some of the outroar over that fight. I didn't watch the first couple of rounds, but I saw the end, and I'll comment on that. So I missed the Froch knockdown, but we got to talk about that and all the other fights. Vitaly Klitschko, he's got to make a decision soon, in a couple of days, I guess, or at least, by the end of 30. Zab Judah, Paulie Malignaggi, they had a press conference. We'll talk about that and what we should expect. I think that press conference tells it all, to be honest with you. Also, we also are going to talk about some other stuff going on, like the fights tonight and tomorrow night. So we got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. I'm going to open up the phone lines because I'm dying to hear what your guys' thoughts are on the weekend for the fights that took place over the weekend and all of that. Now I'm going to answer a couple of questions that are going on right now in the chat room. Now, if you're listening live, make sure you visit the chat room, www.BillyCBoxing.com. Join the chat room. My man Henry wants to know, hey, Billy C, just some thoughts on this weekend's fights. I don't know about you, but the most exciting fight this weekend was in Britain with two of the three best super middleweights, the UK, besides James DeGalley, in the ring. Both Froch and Groves gave exceptional performances, but with the early knockdown by St. George, it was both good and bad for him as he tried all night to take Froch out. As he tried all night to take Froch out after that. Although Groves is a young lion ready to take the throne, Froch showed his toughness and grit coming back to get a stoppage on an overly aggressive young fighter. What do you think? Was the ending too soon? I am going to talk about that a little later, but I think we have to take into consideration some of the stuff that's gone on in the recent weeks. You got the deaths in the ring. As a result, you also have which happened a little while ago. You have the Mago Abdulzimov situation from that fight. You had another devastating fight that took place in the Jorge Arce fight that sent somebody into critical condition. So I mean, there's a bunch of issues about that, but he did look like he was slumped over the ropes and in a defenseless position. You could argue and say, well, maybe the referee could have given him an 8 count, making it seem like the ropes were holding him up, which he very well could have done. Hindsight is 50-50. Monday morning quarterback. In the heat of the moment. It's a tough decision. It's a tough decision to make. So, we'll have to wait and see about that. I will talk a little bit more about that. My man Louis from LA, who called in during our fight night special, which I want to thank everybody for joining us on that. According to some early numbers, we had close to 15,000 views for that. Most people, which were different than some of the previous fights that we did, most people were watching our show in addition to watching the pay-per-view, which I thought actually was a really good mix. We tried a few new things this time. And to be honest with you, I thought it was the best fight night special we've done. Now, I am talking to John from LDL TV, so I'm not sure if you can watch that whole event in its entirety on LDLTV.com or not. I will know by tomorrow's show, so we'll check that out. Now, my man Louis from LA, who did call in, he wanted to know about the ghost thing that we did on Sunday, and I believe that John is also from LDL TV is also editing that. We did hear some stuff. I will say that we did hear some stuff. I'm not. That was the first time I was ever involved with something like that, so I'm not sure. What a ghost's voice really sounds like. But we did ask specific questions, not yes and no answers. Specific questions, and we got some specific answers. So we'll let you be the judge of that. So keep your eyes peeled on that website is www.ldlparanormal.com. So you can check that out. So all of that stuff will be coming up later in the week. So, hey, listen, I'm going to take a very short break, come back with some emails. I know we got a late start, but I'll be back.
If you're in upstate New York and you need a trucking company, then you need Rosselli Enterprises. Rosselli Enterprises is trucking at its finest. They have it all. Dump trucks, dump trailers, walk-in floors, flatbeds, flowboys, tankers, loaders, and a full line of roll-off containers for any job, big or small. Rosselli Enterprises is also the source for all your sand, gravel, and topsoil needs. Visit them on the web at RosselliTrucking.com or call 315-433-5115. That's 315-433-5115 and tell them Billy C sent you.
Are you ready, America? Then let's get it on with Fight Now TV. It's time, fight fans. Your channel has arrived. All the fights, all the names, all the action. From world-class boxing events to mixed martial arts showdowns and other combat sports matchups, Fight Now TV delivers the hits and more. Call your television provider and tell them you want to get it on with Fight Now TV. For more details, go to fightnow.com.
We've got a great matchup tonight. Fighting out of the left corner is the #1 ranked contender.
No, he is not.
I'm sorry, but who are you?
I am the IBO computer. I am programmed to provide only fair and unbiased boxing rankings. This fighter is the #15 ranked contender.
Fair and unbiased boxing rankings? That's a new concept.
Actually, it is not. The IBO has provided unbiased computerized rankings for many years.
Well, we've still got a great fight tonight, folks. In the left corner is the #15 ranked contender.
The IBO, the champion of integrity. Learn more at IBOBoxing.com.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning.
As a young boy, all Billy C dreamed about was one day having his own catchphrase.
And we're back. And we're back.
One boy, one dream, one day, everyone will say.
And we're back. 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 And we're back.
Catchphrase coming soon to a theater near you.
And we're back. You're listening to the Talking Box with Billy C show. Don't forget to check out our website, www. Couldn't they come up with something better? You know, I know what it stands for, but you know, it's like, okay, www. Wait a minute. Maybe it's www. No. It's www. Anyway, check it out, www.BillyCBoxing.com for all the latest boxing news. Don't forget, there's more to it than just the front page. Bang around. Check out the book club. Check out our rankings. We just got I just put the rankings up. I was behind a little bit, so I put them up as of Friday morning. So the fights from this weekend have not been updated yet. So we'll get to that by tomorrow. We do have a short week programming note. We got a show tonight and tomorrow. Thursday for Thanksgiving we are off, and Friday we are off. But Monday we are back better than ever. And we'll be back for the whole week, and we'll make a strong run right until the Christmas holiday. So if you missed it, our main event of the evening. Our Blast from the Past is going to feature Bud Taylor, former World Bantamweight Champion and Boxing Hall of Famer. That's going to take place tomorrow. I want to open up the phone lines a little bit later, so I hope that you guys give us a call. Let me know what your thoughts are on the fights from the weekend. But first, let's get some emails out of the way. Bernie Campbell says, "Hey Cheech, why don't you own up? Why don't you own up to the charade? Glazkov will be the next heavyweight world champion." Well, Bernie Campbell, I don't know about that, my man. I don't have anything against Glazkov, but I don't know if he's world championship caliber. I'll be honest. I've seen him twice live. He's not exciting. He's a lunch pail kind of a guy, and I'm not saying I wouldn't mind seeing him, but come on. I think we got some better heavyweights out there other than him. Maybe we will get to see him against Tomas Adamek. And, we can make a better judge on where he's going to sit. Thanks for the email. And speaking of getting your emails read, I'm telling you, the best way and the only way, YouTube, I'm not so crazy about YouTube. I'm not crazy about anything about them anymore. And they keep changing stuff. They don't send you any kind of notice or anything. And it's hard for me to get the comments. Sometimes I'll be able to get the comments and read them as an email. They're making it impossible, and all the work that it takes me to print out a comment. Listen, I value all your comments and stuff, but if you want to get something read online, if you want live on the shows, you need to email me, because that's our new rule. I'm only going to read emails. I don't need YouTube. I don't need the comments. I don't need all their changes and all of that crap. Email me. It's the best bet. Billy at TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com. It's the only way you can ensure that you will get your thoughts and comments heard, other than calling in. Now, sometimes if the comments, because they change it, YouTube changes it so much, who knows? Maybe they'll start doing it the way they used to, and I'll do it again. But right now, it's you got to jump through hoops to get the comments, and even that, it's not worth it. It doesn't track them the way they used to. So, Hawaii Mike says, impressive fight from Manny Pacquiao. He says, also, have you seen this? What do you think? Nothing you didn't know already. And he sent me a link. The link was called Public Opinion. Mayweather's afraid of Pacquiao. I did see it. Here's my thoughts. It must have been written. The only people that think that Mayweather's afraid of Pacquiao aside from me, are the Pacquiao fans. If you ask the Mayweather fans and the public opinion, I don't know who they asked, but if you ask all Mayweather fans, they're going to make up an excuse and tell you that Pacquiao's afraid and Pacquiao's the one that doesn't want it and everything else. So I'm not sure if I'm going to buy that it's the majority of the public opinion. It is my opinion, and I don't mean afraid, I just think it Pacquiao brings a question mark to the ring as far as Floyd is concerned, in my opinion. And therefore, since Floyd will refuse and has refused to fight anyone, in the last decade that would pose any kind of a chance of beating him, and he goes down another road. So that's the reason. I think that Manny Pacquiao against Floyd Mayweather, I believe it's a 60-40 fight in favor of Floyd. I think Floyd wins that fight 60-40. I don't think it's an even fight, but it's certainly not a 75% chance that Floyd wins. So therefore, Floyd is afraid to fight him in a way. So I agree with that statement. But I don't believe that it's the public's opinion, because I think that if you look at the public's opinion, there's probably a 50-50, because I think there's the same amount of fans for Pacquiao as there are for Floyd, and I don't think any Floyd fan would say that. They would say the complete opposite. So, Hawaii Mike says, on the Froch fight, I had Groves on points, so I was pretty pissed with that referee. Why was he grabbing George in a headlock? Does anyone train the refs, or do they just make it up as they go along? Again, I think that my man Henry in the chat room asked the question. I think that I responded, and I feel that the reason why the referee in this case, jumped in front to stop the fight was he felt that he was in a defenseless position against the ropes. He was not, according to Groves, he says he was fighting back. It looked like he was taking too many shots. And like Henry pointed out in the chat room, Georgie Groves kind of shot his load early in that fight. And a lot of times we've heard it a lot from commentators, and we've said it a lot, and I'm sure you believe it, that sometimes when a fighter gets his opponent in serious trouble, it's almost a bad thing. Or if he knocks his opponent down, it's almost a bad thing, because now he feels that he's got the superpower to knock out his opponent at any time, and then they go headhunting. And we all know that the headhunting and the throwing everything you got behind every single punch tires you out a lot quicker. So I think it's a combination of things. I think it was a close fight. I do believe that Carl Froch was taking over the fight. I do believe that he would have eventually won the fight. That's just my belief. But the truth of the matter was that based on the scorecards, a lot of people felt that Groves was winning, but only one judge had him winning. So I think the other two had it even up to the stoppage or something. So it looked like Froch was coming on the way he does. I mean, that's typical. But listen, we all said about Carl Froch and his lack of defense, and Groves. If Groves hasn't shown Froch that either he's losing a step or he needs to keep his friggin' hands up, I don't know what else will. I think we'll see a rematch, and that'll be good for the Brits. And Hawaii Mike says one more thing. Considering that his skills are so primitive, Carl Froch must have among the strongest wills and best powers of recuperation in the history of boxing to be able to mix it up at the level he does. Imagine if Floyd had Carl's heart, or if Carl had Floyd's skills and athletic talent. It would be unbelievable. I agree with you. I too believe that he's limited. I think that he fights like he's got all of this athletic skill, and I don't think he does, but he does have a granite chin, and he's got some pop, and he does have a strong will, and he's got a lot of heart. The thing about Floyd is we don't know about Floyd's heart. It's never been tested. Never been tested. I'd love to hear, Floyd fans say how much he's got heart, but he has never proven it. I'm from the school that says, hey, prove it. Don't just say it, prove it. Everybody can say whatever, but proving it is a whole nother story. If you took a guy like Carl Froch and you gave him Floyd Mayweather skills, well, then he would be Floyd Mayweather. If you took some of Floyd's skills and you gave him to Carl Froch, I think Froch would be an excellent fighter. But I think really all Carl Froch would have to do is be a little more solid with his boxing skill. Floyd fights. Carl Froch fights like he thinks he's Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. was his hero, and unfortunately, Carl Froch fights like that. And just like Roy Jones Jr., when you fight with your hands down like that, and you're not fighting with fundamental skills from boxing, a la keeping your hands up, trying to establish a jab, trying to be defensively sound, etc., then once your athleticism fails you and leaves you, then you're not as good. And maybe Carl Froch got a little taste of that this weekend when Groves put him on his butt. But anyway, hey, listen, I'm going to take a short break. When I come back, I got a couple of more emails. I got some fight results we're going to talk about, my thoughts on the Pacquiao fight. I think I'm the minority about that. All of that's coming up in 2.
Are you ready, America? Then let's get it on with Fight Now TV. It's time, fight fans. Your channel has arrived. All the fights, all the names, all the action. From world-class boxing events to mixed martial arts showdowns and other combat sports matchups, Fight Now TV delivers the hits and more. Call your television provider and tell them you want to get it on with Fight Now TV. For more details, go to fightnow.com.
Broadcasting in all corners of the globe, on the web and radio.
He would scoff at a stretch of that man, I
would think. You're listening to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. from upstate New York and the good old US of A.
Boxing is here to stay because we are here to stay.
The best 2 hours of boxing talk on the airwaves.
Hey, fight fans, check out KOFantasyBoxing.com. KO Fantasy Boxing is boxing's only trademarked fantasy game. Check it out, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Select your own gym, your own fighters, track them through a season that can last from 3 months to a year, depending upon which league you join. You got to check this out, man, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Join it today. Again, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. And tell him Billy C sent ya.
Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C, the only radio host man enough to take a punch from Mike Tyson.
Wait a minute, man. Hold on there. Jeremy, man, I need you to take this one, all right?
Wait, what? No way. I can't do this.
Need I remind you I'm Billy C, damn it? Now put on that mustache and get in there.
Hey, look at me. I'm Billy C. Crap.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Test 1 2. My fellow Americans, good evening. Welcome back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It's great to be here discussing the sweet science with everybody. I love boxing. I love talking boxing. It's what I do.
Bill.
Wait, what?
Bill.
Why are you interrupting me? What?
Wrong.
What's the problem?
Billy,
what?
C.
I did not have...
We're gonna have to ask
wrong
you.
Speech. What do you mean wrong, Billy C? What's going on here? Fine, I'll go. I just wanted to talk some boxing on TPSradio.net. That's all I wanted to do. I don't need your damn show. I'll get my own talking wrestling with the other Billy C. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. I've always been a Hulkamaniac anyway.
Broadcasting live, brother. Welcome back to Talking Boxing with Billy C on the mighty TPSradio.net, brother. What you gonna do, brother?
And we're back. You're listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C show. Glad you could join us, especially the Fight Now television audience that's just joining us right now. And if you don't have the Fight Now television channel on your sports channel lineup, you're missing more than our show. You're missing the best channel in combat sports. Call your local television provider, whether it's satellite dish or cable, and tell them that you want Fight Now right now. Hey, if you're looking for some information about the channel, go on their website, www.fightnow.com. Did you hear that the Family Guy killed off the dog? I was shocked. I didn't see it. I heard somebody told me that they killed the dog. That the show ended with the dog got hit by a car or something. That's wild. They got a new one already, an Italian dog. Come on, man. We can't. Let's be politically correct. How come they're bashing the Italians all of a sudden? Come on, man. Anyway, poor dog. My man Curon, he says, did you hear about Howard Foster, the ref for the George Groves fight, liking and agreeing with a 9th round prediction of a stoppage before the fight even happened? Foster, Foster and several other English referees are quickly becoming the worst in the sport, but I also think potential corruption is getting more blatant as well. Worldwide, it seems that the judges are on the take. No one can be that stupid consistently. But now, here at least, and he's from England, I'm really starting to worry about the referees. He says, as all the early stoppages and screwy decisions this year happened to coincide with Eddie Hearn becoming the virtual monopoly in British boxing, and somehow always seems to work out in his best interests. Sound familiar? Referees, they have to be assigned, and a referee, in today's boxing world, and I'm not saying this happens, but in today's boxing world, I think the easiest approachable people involved, just like since day one, of course, are either one of the fighters, right? Either one of the fighters, and I'm talking about approachable, meaning to put the fix in. Either one of the fighters or the referee. The referee can wave off a fight, and another person that could be instrumental in a fight ending prematurely or something like that is your chief second. Your own guy. Saying you had too much. I'm going to do you a favor. Stop the fight. Now, as far as the 3 judges, I'm not so sure that that all 3 of them. You would need all 3 judges to put a fix in. Now, even if you bought one judge, that's not guaranteeing you a victory. I think that the referee or one of the fighters or even a chief second of one of the fighters would be the guy or girl that would that could change the outcome of a fight. I'm not suggesting that that's what happened, but my opinion is that I think that I think it's unlikely that all 3 judges. But Kieran, I hadn't heard that, but thanks for the email. Destro, my man Destro, says, "Hey Billy C, I wanted to share my thoughts on the Pacquiao Rios fight." He says, first of all, on the card, I think Zhao improved tremendously. He still needs a lot of improvement, but I think he will be fine as long as he isn't rushed. No way he could be a bum and win 2 gold medals. I just wish he would stop looking like he's having so much fun in the ring. It's hard to land a knockout punch on a guy if you have a huge smile on your face like he does. I think Zhao is the most important prospect in the sport right now, and Sming's popularity can even enhance this sport. I think Bob Arum is a genius for signing Zhao, and I look forward to the day when I have to use Google to translate to share boxing thoughts with new fans from China. I too feel that he looked very improved, but let's keep in mind, sometimes fighters look better against specific opponents than they do against others. I'm not suggesting that Zhao has not improved, because I too felt that he improved. To the difference that that jump from the amateurs, and I don't care how improved you are, or let me rephrase that, I don't care how solid you are as an amateur, how long you've been an amateur, and Zhao certainly has been an amateur for a long time. He's 32 years old, I think, or 31 years old. So that the differences between amateur and pro are significant. And I think it does take you some time, regardless of your experience in the ring, to adjust to that. And I think that that's what we're seeing with Zhao. I don't know if we've seen the best of him. I think that this is a fighter that has to make his move quickly. I personally don't think he's ready to challenge for a world title yet, but it ought to be interesting to see as time goes on. I agree with you about Bob Arum focusing on China and using that part of the world as a proving ground and to develop the sport of boxing. We've seen this throughout the history of the sport, and that's one of the things that I love about the Gentleman Boxer book. It really illustrates, and this is why you got to buy that book. And I know I'm jumping to that, but it's a good example right here. In China, it's a country that's on the rise. They've been around forever and ever, but it's on a rise on the worldwide stage. And along with that, although we saw a glitzy part of China in Macau with the fight this weekend, the majority of the country isn't that rich, and they're certainly not in that living that type of life. With that said, in boxing, in the sport of boxing, it's always thrived in countries during a time in which, there's some trouble, man. There's some problems, specifically poverty related. If you go through the history of boxing, you'll find that it was at its most popular times during the worst economic times. The Gentleman Boxer takes place in the Roaring 20s, which has a lot of things going on. It was from a poor economic time to a prosperous time, and then at the end of the 20s to another poor economic time. What the book shows is how, every single town not only had boxing beat writers, but they had boxing venues. And, you would work up, how we talk about working up the circuit in a weight class. Well, how about working through a circuit of state by state? And that's what they had to do in the 20s. You had to be the best in your state before you got a chance at fighting in the mecca of boxing, which at the time was Madison Square Garden. So the book is way deeper than just the story of Joe Grimm. I'm telling you, it's a good read. It really is. Get yourself a copy. www.iangrumeza.com. The second thought that Destro has is, he says, I thought Pacquiao fought one of the most intelligent fights ever and showed great footwork and angles. I was worried that Pacquiao was burning a lot of energy with the footwork and angles, but he still managed to maintain a high amount of punches. I think this fight shows Pacquiao may not be as one-dimensional as we thought. I never thought he was one-dimensional personally. During our fight night special, we all kind of agreed a little bit that it seemed that he lost a little speed. I know Brandon Rios doesn't say that, but it seemed, if you watch the fight again, I want you to look at one thing and let me know what you think. It looked to me like, how when we say a fighter gets arm weary, a lot of times you see it with fighters that do work too much with weights and stuff, and they got these muscles, and as the fight goes on, they start pushing their punches, and it just seems like they're straining to get that punch thrown and delivered. To me, it looked like, Manny Pacquiao was like punching through water. It just looked like the punch wasn't as fast as it was, but still, even him losing a notch or something of his speed, he's still extremely fast, faster than 95% of the fighters out there. His angles are always there. But I agree with Destro about his footwork. After the second round, because the first round he didn't display any footwork, but after the second round he started really using that. And what makes him such a great fighter is that because of his hand speed and his freakish punching power, he darts in and darts out and delivers those punches from all angles. A lot of people felt that Brandon Rios, I heard people go as far as saying, "Oh, Brandon Rios must have been paid off not to win this fight." That's the kind of comments you're going to hear from Mayweather fans. "Oh yeah, he didn't even fight. He pulled a Clotty. He did it." That's not the case, man. You guys don't understand what it's like. And if you would have listened after Rios calmed down about losing the fight, if you would have listened to what he was saying. And, he was depressed because he worked as hard as he ever did for that fight. He says he put in 5 months of nothing but dedication to that fight, to win that fight. He prepared to win that fight. And I believe in all of my heart that Brandon Rios prepared to win that fight. He went there to win. And so did Garcia. But it's a different story when you go in to win a fight and you think that you can, and the confidence level is at an all-time high, and then everything you try to do, you can't do. And that's what Manny Pacquiao does. And give credit what credit's due. And I hate to do this because that's all everybody talked about was Floyd. That's why Floyd Mayweather has to fight Manny Pacquiao. There is no reason for him not to fight. And I will tell you right now, I don't care what the Mayweather fans say. I don't care what kind of crap or Kool-Aid you're going to drink from Mayweather himself. In 10 years after Mayweather's career, if he does not fight Pacquiao, everybody is going to remember that it will be a forever blemish on Floyd Mayweather's career, regardless if he finishes undefeated and all of that stuff. That'll forever be a blemish on his career that he did not fight Pacquiao. Now, and the Pacquiao fans, should Floyd fight Pacquiao now and beat him, the Pacquiao fans are going to come up with the excuse that he waited too long and he waited for Pacquiao to go down a notch and everything. Hey, that doesn't matter. That does not matter. At some point in time, Floyd has to fight Manny Pacquiao, just like Uncle Roger said. And the bottom line is this: he will forever be blemished by not fighting him, regardless of who you think's going to win or lose. I personally think Floyd would be able to beat Pacquiao, but I also think that Pacquiao poses a problem, and in a way, Floyd is scared of him because he's scared to be a man and fight a 50-50 fight. He's scared to take on a challenge that he honestly thinks himself he may not be able to do. And he needs to prove to himself, but he doesn't. He stays safe, and that's why I believe that he has to fight Pacquiao. And I never in a million years thought that Pacquiao was a one-dimensional fighter. Destro, his other comment, he says, I saw Rios crying in an interview and I felt sorry for him. He says, Rios said that I trained 5 months. Yeah, right. He says, I trained 5 months to win and was in the best shape of my life. He says, Rios went on to say that he couldn't attack Pacquiao as he wanted because every time he threw a punch, Pacquiao countered him. I gave Pacquiao's performance an A because it was entertaining and masterful. An A+ would have been a stoppage. I do, however, think when Rios touched the canvas, that should have been ruled a knockdown. I give the overall pay-per-view card a B- because the bouts were exciting but lacked any big names. I don't think, well, first of all, I agree with you, Destro, 100% that should have been a knockdown. We talked about it on our Fight Night special. It clearly should have been a knockdown. It was a punch that landed. It was a body punch. It landed. The punch knocked Rios off balance and ultimately hit the canvas. That definitely was a knockdown. It doesn't matter if he stumbled a little bit on his way back, trying to get out of his way. It was caused by a punch. Now, whether he was hurt or not is not the issue. The punch put him down. I agree with you that should have been scored as a knockdown. As far as the card, I don't think that the rest of the card was exciting at all. I do believe the Billy Dib and Vigradovic fight turned into an exciting fight, but that's it. It turned into an exciting fight. I guess the Zhao fight was exciting if you're looking to see him look good. But I agree with Destro 100%. So I guess Destro and I might be the only two people. I thought that the Pacquiao fight was extremely entertaining. I thought it was just like Floyd Mayweather's last couple of fights. I think they were entertaining one-sided fights. I actually had people say that it was boring, that they were disappointed, that Rios didn't do anything. And then I asked the question, well, did you think that the Mayweather-Alvarez fight was boring. And they said, oh, no, that fight wasn't boring. Well, this was coming from Mayweather fans. It was the same thing. The Mayweather-Alvarez fight was a one-dimensional fight. It was a one-sided fight. Floyd didn't struggle with that fight. I gave Alvarez 1 round in that fight. I gave Rios 1 round in the Pacquiao fight. But you were kind of waiting, just like in the Floyd fight, waiting if Alvarez would, shift gears or step it up a notch and catch up with Floyd. Same thing with Rios. Rios was the bigger guy. I was wondering if he was going to step it up. I think that the Rios camp never tried to incorporate Plan B. Now, whether they did, I wasn't listening to the audio, but whether they did or not. He didn't follow it because he did the same thing he did all night long. Same thing as Robert Guerrero against Floyd Mayweather. Both guys that have smart camps and knowledgeable camps in terms of boxing, and neither one of them went to Plan B. So, when something's not working, you got to abandon it and go to something else. I personally think that Rios got busted up. Anybody that doesn't think that Pacquiao can hit hard and doesn't think that Pacquiao's got hand speed, I have never seen Bam Bam Rios that busted up in any fight of his career. He was disfigured at the end of the career. It reminded me a little bit of the Antonio Margarito fight and also the Oscar De La Hoya fight. I mean, listen, this is why Floyd doesn't want to fight Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao lands punches, a lot of them, and he out-punched at least what I saw, at least 2-1 to Rios throughout the whole fight. Listen, Manny Pacquiao, I thought, put on a fantastic performance against Rios. Where we go from there, I don't know. And finally, he says, how many pay-per-view buys do you think that card had? He says, I think it's going to be like Pacquiao against Claude, Mayweather, Guerrero type of numbers, around 750,000. If they do 750, I think they're going to be open up bottles of champagne. I think they're going to be satisfied if they do 500. But we'll have to wait and see. The numbers, at least as far as I know, have not been released yet. So we'll have to wait and see. Thanks for the email, Destro. Great email. And finally, my last email that I want to read real quick is King of T. Dot he says, hey, Billy C., even though it was a decisive win, but I agree 100% with what Max Kellerman said at the end about Manny Pacquiao not being quite the same fighter. He hasn't shown the same level of explosiveness and power. Speed-wise, as far as I can see, is still there. I don't agree with Max on that. I think that his speed might have lost a little bit. I think his explosiveness and power is there. I think what's lacking with Manny Pacquiao is not the explosiveness and power. I think it's the killer instinct. I think it was obvious when he said that he let his foot off the gas in the last round when he could have, when they thought that they may have gotten a stoppage against Rios. Instead, he took his foot off, and his words, his words were, I won the fight. I didn't, why do I have to, destroy this guy? I thought it was kind of strange at the end of that fight when they kind of just stood there and looked at each other, and Manny Pacquiao put his gloves like, what are you gonna embrace or what? And I didn't quite understand, and I don't know if anything was said about that afterwards on the broadcast, but I didn't understand what the deal was with that. Was Rios that frustrated that his emotions were just, too much for him to embrace Pacquiao? Was he genuinely anti-Pacquiao? I mean, they seemed like they were friends during the promotion. I just think, I contributed to that, but it was a weird situation. King of T-Dot says, all in all, Manny fought a very cautious fight. I would define it as our last emailer did. I would define it as an intelligent fight. One of the guys that did our Fight Night special, Eric Botcher, he said that during the broadcast, and I agree with him 100%. It was extremely intelligent. I think it was the way to fight. I mean, listen, you got to learn from your mistakes. Obviously, Manny Pacquiao made a critical mistake in his last fight, and he paid dearly for it. And I think that, the one thing you got to give him and Freddie Roach credit for, whether you like them or not, is that they improve and they don't make the same mistake again and again. So I think they learned from it, and I thought we saw the end result of that. He says, at the moment, I'm not quite sure what to make of it, whether it was good or bad for Pacquiao moving forward. Freddie wanted him to box Rios by going in and out at great angles, and Pacquiao did just that. He also showed great lateral movement. Throughout the match, it was quite apparent that Manny was holding back after he was done with his 2-3 punch combos and the occasional 4-punch combos. Again, I think Manny, king of T-Dot, I think he fought the smart fight. The fight that Manny Pacquiao fought, with his hand speed and darting in and darting out and throwing 3 and 4 punch combinations or even 2 and 3 punch combinations and getting out of harm's way, is a smart way to fight, and it's an exciting way to fight. Why don't people give Mayweather the criticism that they're giving Manny Pacquiao? I think that one of the reasons is because everybody has become used to Manny Pacquiao being in these totally exciting fights, and they've accepted the fact that Floyd is a boring fighter. And now all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, why was he fighting smart? Why was he darting in and darting out? Well, he was fighting smart. And if he fights that style, that darting in, darting out, using his lateral movement, using his footwork and obviously his foot speed and his hand speed, and sprinkle in his punching power, and when you have that mixed in with all blanketed together with intelligence, he's a tough guy to beat. Realistically, if he fights like that, who can beat him? I think he's unbeatable. Really, in his own weight class, I think he's virtually unbeatable if he's fighting like that and still has the skill, that the age doesn't slow him down too much, that he can't get out of harm's way and can't dart in and out. So I think he fought the right fight, honestly. During the post-fight press conference, he did address this by saying that he can be aggressive if he wants to, and that he would weld his aggressiveness depending upon the type of opponent he's pitted against, but that remains to be seen. Maybe he's saying in a nutshell that he got hit a couple of times by Rios, which he did, and felt his power and said, you know what, I'm not going to take any stupid chances. So why don't we give him credit? Some Mayweather fans call that sweet science. Why isn't it the same? Listen, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you're a boxing fan and you accept the way Floyd Mayweather fights and you can sit here and tell me that it's exciting, I respect your opinion. I don't think he's exciting. I think Manny's exciting. And I think Manny fought a smart fight. But don't criticize him for fighting a smart fight. I'm not saying that you are. But, we can't criticize him for fighting a smart fight. I'm sorry, you can't. Can you comment? I just commented. He says, P.S. Remember being gun shy, not being able to pull the trigger when you want to or ought to, can cost you a fight. Your fight is secured only when your opponent is dispatched. I agree with that. King of T-Dot. I agree with that 100%. But do you think anybody in the house thought that Bam Bam Rios was winning that fight? I think the humanitarian part of Manny Pacquiao is now part of Manny Pacquiao's fight game. Maybe we're not going to see those devastating knockouts anymore, and maybe he's going to let his opponents off the hook a little bit. But I think that unlike some close fights he's had where he let his opponent off the hook, I don't think he's going to do that unless it's a one-sided beatdown like we saw on Saturday. So that's that. I personally, thanks for all the emails. I personally like the fight, and let's talk about it right now. In case you were under a rock or something over the weekend, Manny Pacquiao won a very one-sided fight against Bam Bam Rios over the weekend. He improves to 54 wins, 5 losses, 2 draws, 38 coming by a knockout. Bam Bam Rios loses for the second time in his career. Actually, Pacquiao is now 55 wins and 5 losses. Brandon Rios loses for the second time in his career. He's now 31-2-1 with 23 knockouts. The judges scored it unanimously in favor of Manny Pacquiao, 120-108, 119-109, and 118-110. I'm okay with every one of those scores. HBO's Harold Lenneman also scored it a one-sided 12 rounds to none. I personally gave 1 round to Rios. All of us that were doing the Fight Night special all gave Bam Bam Rios 1 round. However, there were 3 different rounds, which makes that third score, 118-110, okay too. So I think the judges got it right. I think Manny Pacquiao looked good, and I think Bam Bam Rios tried his hardest. I don't think Brandon Rios went there to lose. I don't think he, didn't pull the trigger when he should have. I just don't think he had an answer. It's very hard to try and incorporate your game plan when everything you're doing is being nipped at the bud. And that's exactly what took place. I thought Manny Pacquiao, Bam Bam Rios was an extremely exciting fight. I was the only one that thought it was exciting during our Fight Night special. Everyone else thought the fight was boring. They all felt that Rios didn't come to fight and all this stuff, which I totally disagree. And it was coming from all of the mouths of Mayweather fans. And that's what I think the Mayweather fans interpret the fight. They're not going to give Manny Pacquiao any credit. When you talk to the Manny Pacquiao fans, they're going to think it was a great fight. Me, it's not that I'm a, diehard Pacquiao fan. I think he's entertaining. I like watching a fighter that has a killer instinct to a degree. I think that Manny has lost some of it, but in a nutshell, he takes chances. He fights opponents that has a chance to beat him, and I respect him for it, and I admire him for it, and I want to see more of it. He did fight a smart fight. And again, I feel that, I honestly feel that Floyd does not want to fight him, that he is a little bit scared. That's my opinion. And the only reason why I say scared is because I don't believe that Floyd, I believe that Floyd knows that it's not an 80% chance that Floyd wins. I think it's 60-40. I give Pacquiao a chance at beating Floyd. I give him a 40% chance out of 100 that he beats Floyd. If they announce a fight tomorrow, who would I pick? I think based on their last 2 performances, I would pick Floyd, but Floyd's not man enough to do it. And like I said earlier, I really believe that, in the long-term thing, if Floyd does not fight Manny Pacquiao before he retires, it'll forever be a blemish on his career. Forever be a blemish on his career. As far as Manny Pacquiao goes, I believe that Manny Pacquiao can lose another fight or 2 or 3 and still go down in history as one of the all-time greats. I'm not sure he's got 3 fights in him in terms of the desire to fight 3 more times. And speaking of which, they're talking about a possible fight in April. I guess, what are they talking? April 12th of next year at a venue in the U.S. They said that he was never going to fight in the U.S. again. And now they're talking about that. So we'll have to wait and see what takes place with Manny in April. If he's looking at fighting in April, then you can forget about him fighting Floyd unless Floyd says, "Hey, fight me in May," which I don't see it. I don't see Floyd doing it at all. Pacquiao said he admitted that he backed off the last round because he didn't want. He says, and I quote, "Boxing isn't about killing each other." As we know now, the big news today was that Pacquiao is being accused of tax evasion by the Philippine version of the IRS. It's called the BIR, the Philippines Bureau of Internal Revenue. And apparently they are accusing him with a $50 million U.S. dollar tax case claiming that he has not paid any taxes in the Philippines. Manny Pacquiao feels that this is politically created. He's actually borrowing money because he had promised that he was going to take money of his own and help the victims of the typhoon. And now he announced that he's going to borrow money to take care of them out of his own pocket. So amazing individual. I mean, if you don't like Manny, I don't know what kind of human being you would like. Freddie Roach says that he's, if it was up to him, and if Juan Manuel Marquez was man enough, that Manny's next opponent would be Juan Manuel Marquez. But they will decide who that opponent is over the next few weeks. We'll see what happens with that. Some interesting side notes. Bob Arum said that they're looking to do at least 3 more shows in Macau and maybe 1 in Singapore, all in China. He's partnered up with a lot of big names in Japan and China to help develop boxing. He said we are looking to expand in China as well as Japan. And they feel that they couldn't have been more successful. He was asked about what kind of dollars the whole event cost him, and according to Bob Arum, he said in excess of $30 million for the whole production. He says it was almost like making a movie, motion picture. He says, except unfortunately, we open and close only in one night. So amazing amount of money to talk about there, $30 million. But anyway, the undercard, I thought that the co-main event, Envy Gradovic against Billy Dib, I thought that was somewhat entertaining. I felt that Gradovic made it a little entertaining, and Billy Dib, they were exchanging. It started off kind of slow and hard to watch, but then they did exchange, and ultimately Gradovic beat Billy Dib. He stopped him at 1 minute and 10 seconds of the 9th round. Referee Alan Huggins stopped the fight. Gradovic improves to 18-0 with 9 knockouts. Billy Dib drops the 3rd fight of his career. He's now 36-3 with 21 knockouts. Undefeated heavyweight contender. And I mean heavyweight. This guy is a fat slob. He looked like Butterbean in there. Andy Ruiz Jr., all the hubbub about this guy, somebody better just keep him away from the buffets, man. I mean, this is a fat bastard. I call myself a fat bastard, but Andy Ruiz is a fat bastard. He can't, listen, this guy is going to go nowhere with that kind of physique. He huffs and puffs, and he's not huffing and puffing and blowing any houses down like the big bad wolf. He's just a fat bastard. I mean, come on, man. He improved to 21-0 and 15 knockouts because Tor Hammer's a pussy. Come on. This is his second fight that he quit on his stool. And if you think that it only pissed me off, how about what Lou DiBella said? He said that this was an embarrassment. He said it's time to become a pilot. He's sorry to the fans. He says that's not what a Lou DiBella or DiBella Entertainment fighter does. And by the way, you're released. He totally released Tor Hammer after that pitiful performance. WTF is what Lou DiBella himself commented about Tor Hammer. Listen, I knew that Tor Hammer was a non-fighting guy years ago. This guy had never fought anybody. He was coddled. He gets into 2 real fights. The other fighter he quit on the stool was Viv Glazkov, the guy who just beat Garrett Wilson at the Turning Stone. He quit on the stool against Glazkov. I mean, listen, we look at boxing, and Alex Papali made a good point about the brutality of the sport and everything else, and we talk about how MMA has a way to quit, and it's accepted. You quit in MMA, you tap out, and nobody, there's no problem with it. Everybody accepts it. Boxing doesn't have a way to quit. You can't quit. If you quit a fight in boxing, you're ridiculed. When you quit on your stool, regardless of if you're taking a beating or whatever, you're ridiculed. If a referee stops the fight because he's trying to protect you, he gets ridiculed. There's no way. But yet, when a fighter gets pummeled too much, then the referee was at fault. The commission's at fault. The judge is at fault. Everybody's at fault when something bad happens. Man, I mean, come on. Listen, I agree with Lou DiBella about Tor Hammer. If all of a sudden you're taking a beating and you don't like it, guess what? You're in the wrong business, man. Boxing is the hurt business. Your corner is supposed to stop the fight. In my opinion, the corner stops the fight. If the corner thinks that you're taking too much punishment, if the corner, which incidentally I think we learned something with the Mago Abdulzumov situation, I think that cornermen now should go. Do you realize how easy it is to become a trainer or a cornerman in the sport of boxing? You pay $25 and you get a license at any pro show. They don't ask you for any kind of background. What's your background? They don't put you through any kind of a test. I will say this, the New York State Athletic Commission, in order to be a manager or a matchmaker or something, they do test you. You do have to have a working knowledge of the sport of boxing. But for the most part, you don't. You could go into a fight. I've never trained a fighter in my life. I could go get a seconds. I could be the chief second in any fight just by paying a license fee. And I don't know if that's good. I think that what we should do now is start to train, make trainers go through a course. At least a safety course, whether it be a one-time deal, a 6-hour course or something like that, and teach them certain things like what to look for, how to do a cut, what's a dangerous sign, what kind of questions to ask your fighter, things that might jog, your memory as a trainer to see that something's not right. You're in the heat of the moment. You're in a situation where it's a macho situation. Nobody wants to lose, whether you're the trainer, a fan, or the fighter himself. So if the trainer or somebody in the corner sees that the fight has to be stopped, it's up to them. And a fighter can't be criticized when his corner stops it. A fighter can't be criticized when the referee stops it. The referee can be criticized and the corner can be criticized, but not the fighter. But when a fighter quits on a stool, he gets criticized. It's the only sport like that. In MMA, they tap out, no problem. It's over. So it's crazy. But let me tell you something. Andy Ruiz, he's a fat bastard. The other fight that we got to see, of course, in my opinion, and in many, Zhao Schming's 3-0 right now, might have been his best performance as a pro when he won a unanimous decision over Juan Toscano, who loses for the first time in his career. Juan drops to 4-1. Two of the judges scored it 60-54, and another one had it 60-52. So that means that they must have given scored a couple of 10-8 rounds or something. I don't know, or can't add. In the undercard as well, Felix Verdejo improved to 9-0 with 6 knockouts when he won a 6-round unanimous decision over whoever that guy's name is. I'm not even going to try. 8-2 now for the guy. I won't even try to pronounce his name. All 3 judges scored it the same, 60-53. And Rex So. Now, these were all on the undercard that we did not see on the pay-per-view, but if you tuned in, you got to see him. Rex So, 8-0 now. I thought that was an impressive fight. That I was pretty interested in. He improves to 8-0 with 3 knockouts. He scored a first-round stoppage of Susu Slitendang, who drops to 7-4. 2 minutes and 29 seconds of the first round. Ik Yang improved to 13-0 with 8 knockouts when he scored a 6-round majority decision over Hero Tito, who drops to 7-3 with 3 knockouts. 57-57 was the way one judge scored it, and the other two had it 60-54 and 59-55 in favor of Yang. Super featherweight, Hermanto Della Torre improved to 8-0 with 6 knockouts when he knocked out Jason Butar in the third round. The official time was 1 minute and 23 seconds. Butar drops to 15-12-1. And in the super welterweight division, Kuk Kun Nug moves to 2-0 with no knockouts with a 4-round unanimous decision over Yu Ji Zhang, who drops to 4-5. All 3 judges saw it the same, 40-36. In the fight that was pretty entertaining on the other side of the pond, Carl Froch wins via a 9th round TKO over Georgie Groves. He improves to 32-2 with 23 knockouts. Georgie Groves drops his first fight of his career, 19-0. It took place in Manchester. My thoughts on that fight, I talked about it a little bit earlier. I do believe that we have to take into consideration, with the fact that the referee I'm talking about when I say he's got all of this weight on his shoulders. I don't want to let this fight go too long. I don't want to get Georgie Groves hurt or anything. He did look like he was running out of gas. He did look like he was laying on the ropes helpless, and he stopped the fight. I understand the outrage because first of all, it was an entertaining fight, and I didn't think Groves would even compete as well as he did. But Froch got the win, and I think we're going to see a rematch. They made a lot of money, and it looks like they'll make a lot more on the rematch. Froch did hit the canvas in the first round, but the end, according to the referee, Groves was in trouble. Groves claims he was fighting back. The way the judges scored it was one judge had it at the time of stoppage. Groves ahead 78-73, and the other two had it 76-75 going in to the ninth round. So 76-75 going into the ninth round, and then after watching that ninth round, the 10th round would have given the lead, because you had to assume if the fight continued that it would have been at least that one knockdown. If the referee called the ropes holding Groves up, keeping Groves from hitting the canvas, it would have been scored a 10-8 round. Therefore, Froch would have taken the lead on 2 scorecards, and the one card he still would have been behind on. But it did look to me, I don't have a crystal ball, but it did look to me that Froch was in control of the fight from really the 6th round on, and I believe that he would have went on to win a decision at least. Nonetheless, I think that a rematch may be taking place, so we'll have to wait and see about that. The co-main event, Scott Quigg improved to 27-0 with a couple of draws when he took care of Diego Silva, who loses the 3rd fight of his career. He's now 29-3 with 4 draws. The time of the stoppage was 1 minute and 41 seconds of the 2nd round. So congratulations to Scott Quigg. In the cruiserweight division, the IBF cruiserweight title was on the line. Johan Pablo Hernandez took care of Alexander Alexiev in 10 rounds. Hernandez improves to 28-1 with 14 knockouts, and Alexander Alexiev, who was stopped in the 10th, he drops to 24-3 with 1 draw. Also on that card, Alex Lepai, who was actually brought in as the opponent, beat Denis Boistov. Lepai improves to 30 wins, 4 losses, and 3 draws. Boistov loses for the first time in his career. The way the judges scored it, 98-90, 96-92 twice. Let me just tell you this. I just said this last week about Denis Boistov. This is a guy that's been coddled. This is a guy that we had all these high hopes for. He reminds me, not that he's a knockout puncher like Deontay Wilder, but he reminds me of a similar path that Deontay Wilder followed. And now all of a sudden, he gets up to a point in the rankings where he has to fight somebody real. And, let's be real. Alex Lepai is not exactly a world beater. Listen, things work out for the best. Fighters eventually get exposed. I just think that for the good of the sport, we should, put them in a little tougher sooner so that the real best fighters rise to the top instead of the smoke screen, the mirrors, all the BS. Also on that card, in a light heavyweight title elimination for the IBF, Dmitry Sudakowski improved to 21-2 when he stopped Edward Gutnick, which shocked me because Gutnick is a pretty tough fighter. The fight was stopped after the fourth round because Gutnick's eye was swollen shut. We've seen this happen in Germany before, most recently with Arthur Abraham. So Gutnick drops to 25-3 with 9 knockouts. Don't be surprised if you see a rematch with that fight. So anyway, in Boston, we had some fights. Irish Joe McCready. He improved to 17 wins, 6 losses, and a couple draws when he won a unanimous 6-round decision over Steven Tyner, who drops to 3-13. Also on that card, Chris Trietti improved to 14-3 when he beat Randy the Rattler Campbell in a 6-round decision. Campbell drops to 3-10. You could see how that fight was matched. On Friday night, Peter Manfredo Jr. Won a exciting fight at the Twin River Event Center. Jimmy Birchfield's Classic Entertainment and Sports was the promoter. Peter Manfredo Jr., he's now 40 wins, 7 losses, and 21 of his wins coming by knockout. Rich Gringas, he drops to 13-4-1. Basically, Manfredo was dominating the fight towards the end, but Gringas was a fighter that never gave up. And Gringas eventually got stopped at 1 minute and 33 seconds of the 8th round. It was a fantastic uppercut left cross combination from Manfredo that made the referee stop the fight as Gringas was in some serious trouble. Manfredo was considering he was going to retire. As a matter of fact, he didn't announce his retirement, but he wasn't, thinking much after his fight in March. He beat up a fighter, Walter Wright, and then he was kind of just not going to fight anymore. Didn't make a big deal of it. But apparently, according to Peter Manfredo, what happened to Gary Boletto kind of prompted him to do something about it, and that's what set up this fight. Now, with his performance over Gringas, he's considering taking it a step further, so we'll have to wait and see about that. Jamie Clampett from the Clampetts. No, Jamie Clampett, she wanted to fight one more fight. She had a pretty good career, and she went out exactly how she wanted. She hadn't been in a ring for 3 years. Her last fight was, I was at, as a matter of fact, against Holly Holm. She did something, popped her shoulder and couldn't continue, but she got in the ring and she fought Dominga Olivio and won a unanimous decision. She closes her career 22 wins, 5 losses, and a draw. And Dominga Olivio, she drops to 8 wins, 9 losses, and 1 draw. She's out of Brooklyn. The judges scored it all in favor of Jamie Clampett. 2 of them had it at 58-56, and the third had it 59-55 in their 6-round fight. Also, Jesse Barbosa, he improved to 7 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw with 5 knockouts when he knocked out a veteran fighter at 1 minute and 15 seconds of the second round. Arthur Sarabikian drops to 23 wins, 5 losses, and a draw. This was the first fight that Sarabikian had in 11 years, 38 years old. No shocker there. And some other undercard fights. I'll just give you the wins real quick. Ethan Pina, he improved to 2-0 in winning 38-37, 37. One judge had it 38-37 in favor of Antonio Murillo, and the other 2 had it in favor of Pina, 38-37, to give him the split decision win. And in the middleweight division, K.J. Harrison Lombardi improved to 4-0 with a draw when he avenged his loss against Mike Rodriguez, who's now 0-2. All 4 judges scored the fight 39-36. the former British and European lightweight champion John Murray, he got back into the ring after a 2-year hiatus and stopped Michael Escobar in the 4th round. It was action-packed up to that point, but Escobar was down in the 3rd round and twice in the 4th. It was 43 seconds of the 4th, the exact time. Murray now improves to 32-2 with 19 knockouts, and Escobar dropped to 10-8. In a 10-round main event and in Dover, Edgar Santana improved to 29-4 with 20 knockouts, and he picked up an NABA junior welterweight belt when he beat Michael Cold Blood Clark. It got stopped at 2 minutes and 27 seconds of the opening round when Michael Cold Blood Clark was knocked out cold, laying on the canvas face down. Clark is like 150 years old. This guy fought on one of my cards 10 years ago. So, from Huntington, Long Island, my man Joe DeGuardia put Vinny Matalone in with a fighter that he should have dispatched of pretty easily in Marenzio Smith. But it just goes to show you, I love Joe DeGuardia. He's a great guy. But, I mean, when you look on paper, his fights are so mismatched. So when you hear something like the result of the Matalone fight, you're a little surprised. It's similar to watching a Broadway boxing event, one of DeBella's events. You look on paper, and they're totally mismatched fights. But occasionally, even though the matchmakers find the perfect opponent, the sun shines on a dog's ass every once in a while, too. And that's kind of what happened with Marenzio Smith. He won an 8-round majority draw against Vinny Matalone on Friday, which only means, and I wasn't there, but which only means that he should have won the fight. Vinny Matalone, his record now is 37-8-1 with 28 knockouts, and Marenzio Smith, he's 12-7 with 3 draws and 9 knockouts. The co-main event had Celtis Selden improved to 12-0 with 9 knockouts when he won an 8-round decision over Gilbert Venegas, who drops to 12-12 with 4 knockouts. See what I'm talking about? Also on Friday in San Diego, we had Aaron Gallivan Garcia improved to 13-3 with a couple of draws when he scored a devastating knockout over Kevin Hoskins, who drops to 7-3 in the 5th round. They fought in a super featherweight division. Also in California, Artemio Rios fought Francisco Reza in a 8-round main event, and the Reyes won the fight when he knocked out his opponent at 1 minute and 15 seconds of the 2nd round. Reyes improves to 21-2, and Francisco Reza drops to 12-8. In an upset to win a vacant World Boxing Federation heavyweight belt, the All-African heavyweight belt, Elvis Moyo from Zimbabwe beat the former South African heavyweight champion Osborne Machimaya via a 10-round majority decision to win the vacant WBF World Federation All-Africa heavyweight title in South Africa Friday night. Machimaya's record drops to 18 wins, 8 losses, and a couple of draws. And Moyo's record, he's now 4 wins and 5 losses with a couple of draws and 1 knockout. You never know what's going to happen. Also, Danny the Bronx Bomber Santiago improved to 33 wins, 5 losses, with 27 of his wins coming by knockout when he beat Ruben Williams, who's now 29-21. I can't believe he lost that many fights. Remember Mr. Hollywood Williams? It was a 6-round unanimous decision, and Williams got in some trouble in the 2nd round, but he ended up holding on, and all 3 judges scored it one-sided for Danny Santiago, 60-54. A note that a fight that kind of flew under the radar and the results weren't announced until today, actually. Randall Bailey is starting his climb back. He improves to 44-8 when he did what he always does. He knocked out his opponent in the 8th round. Humberto Toledo now is 41-11 with a couple of draws. Of course, after the fight, he says he's back, he's in the mix, and he wants a shot at Mayweather. It'll never happen. If it does happen, I'll throw up on this counter right here. If Mayweather signs to fight Randall Bailey, I will personally throw up on this counter just to show you my disgust. So we'll have to see what happens with that as time goes on, and hopefully it's not going to be anything close to that. But anyway, hey, listen, I'm going to take a short break, and when I come back, I'm going to open up the phone lines. I'm going to have them open when I come back from break. So if you have any thoughts or comments, we'll look forward to hearing from you. We're only going to take 1 or 2 callers, depending upon the points you make, because of the time factor. But one thing I wanted to add right now, that Vitaly Klitschko has until November 30th, which is just right around the corner, to make up his mind of what he's going to do, whether he's going to be making a world title defense against his mandatory title challenger in Bermane Stavern. He has not made any public decision yet. However, his wife, for the first time, I've never heard her make a comment, but she commented to a newspaper in Germany, and she said that he alone is going to decide. However, he's achieved everything that his boxing career, he's achieved everything that he could have in his boxing career, and so if it was up to her, it would be nice if he hung up the gloves. You know what? I think this about Klitschko. He's got nothing left to prove. And if I were the Klitschko brothers, I would both retire, just as a sign of, being together, But the truth of the matter is this. If Vitaly gives up his belt, my big question would be, would the WBC be willing to let Vladimir Klitschko fight Bermane Stavern for all the belts? That would be an interesting fight, and that would give Vladimir the chance of owning all the belts for himself, in which case then he could easily retire because he would have nothing left to prove. We'll be right back.
Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. now has official merchandise available on TalkinBoxing.com. T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, and mugs. And yes, even undergarments. Talkin' Boxing apparel is the perfect gift for the boxing fan in your life. Log on to www.talkinboxing.com. That's TalkinBoxing.com and place your order today.
Join us here for 2 hours as Billy and the gang do what they do best.
Every time I start talking about boxing, a white man got to pull Rocky Marciano out the ass. Rocky Marciano was good, but compared to Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano ain't.
Beat Joe Louis's ass.
Joe Louis was 75 years old when he fought.
Huh? What?
We're supposed to be talking boxing.
It's Talking Boxing with Billy C.
As Billy C sits here in the multi-million-dollar Talkin' Boxing Studios, sipping a fine wine before you're even out of bed, you should be thinking, damn, I wish I had a mustache like his. It's the Talkin' Boxing with Billy C show. He's Billy C, and you're not. Sucks to be you.
Now let's dig into our archives and hear a rare interview when Billy C first became the champion of boxing talk radio. Hello, Billy C. As the new champ, can we ask you a few questions?
Why, certainly.
Okay, your fans would like to know how you and your corner have successfully walloped the competition.
We're not ordinary people. We're morons.
Anything else?
I'm a victim of circumstance.
Did your success finally come when you made the show 5 days a week for 2 hours? What do you think?
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Now, please tell the listeners what you've learned from making it this far.
Certainly. If at first you don't succeed, keep on sucking till you do succeed.
Great words of wisdom, Billy C. Keep up the great work as the undisputed People's Champion with your show, Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. Any last words to anyone who's listening?
This is your fault, you bonehead.
And we're back. You're listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C show. You're watching us on the Fight Now television channel. Glad you could join us. And listen, man, if you don't have the Fight Now channel on your sports channel lineup, you need to call your local television provider and tell them that you want Fight Now right now. All the information about the channel can be found on the website, www.fightnow.com. And don't forget, man, drop Fight Now an email. Tell them how much you love this show and how much you want, to see it more. See more of it on Fight Now. More of it on Fight Now TV. Hey, speaking of now, we're opening up the phone lines. If you have any thoughts, comments, concerns, all that stuff, give us a call, 845-228-8710. 845-228-8710. Some news in the boxing world. It looks like it's almost signed, sealed, and delivered. A fight that will be on the January 18th fight card in Montreal. That Bryant Jennings is going to be taking on the newly reinstated Maurice Wach. Interesting fight. Wach is 27-1 with 15 knockouts. He's a monster dude. I've seen him fight a couple of times. He did challenge for the world heavyweight title, got beat up by Klitschko, and then tested positive for steroids and was banned for, I believe, 6 months or maybe even a year. He's off that ban now. He's been reinstated, and he's looking for a fight. And according to Team Jennings, Jennings claims that the fight is made. He hasn't signed it, but he's in the process of signing it and getting it back. So I'm anticipating getting an official announcement on that fight as soon as tomorrow. Paulie Malignaggi and Zab Judah, they're trying to get us to want to watch this fight. And these guys are in a press conference, and they're handling each other. They're being so nice. I thought they were going to hug and kiss each other. Zab Judah says it's nothing personal against Paulie. It's like something we got to go and do. This is the business, blah, blah, blah. Paulie Malignaggi says, like Zab said, it's nothing personal, blah, blah, blah. To me, it sounds like this is going to be one of those fights that just has too much respect. And we'll have to wait and see. We got a caller on the line. I think this is Dax. Is this you, Dax? We got somebody on the line.
Yeah, it's Harold Letterman.
Harold, what's up, my man?
Nothing. Figured I'd give you a call, talk to Billy C, see how he's doing.
There's my
man. Happy Thanksgiving.
There's my main man, Harold Letterman. You have a number similar to Dax's. How was the trip, brother?
Oh my God, I got jet lag and a half.
Well, listen, you gotta settle something for me right now. I most people agreed with your scorecard. I gave 1 round to Rios, but I thought it was an entertaining fight. I didn't get to hear you guys. I was watching the fight without the sound on. We were doing something in conjunction with the fight, but I thought that it was an entertaining fight. As if you're a Manny Pacquiao fan, I just thought that it was a type of fight that Manny Pacquiao showed when he's on. He darts in and darts out. I've heard people say that Rios was the type of fighter or they blamed Rios for not trying, that he was paid off. I didn't see it that way at all. Well, you were there, man. Tell me what you saw.
No, Brandon Rios certainly tried for 12 rounds. I mean, he was just outclassed. Manny, he hits you with that right hander, he hits you with a combination, and then he turns you. He's always moving. So he's a hard time to get a real good shot at. It's a real problem, I mean, the guy is constantly turning you, He circles in both directions, and you really don't get a good shot at him. Rios tried. He pressed him for 12 rounds. And Manny just outbanged him. I mean, Manny Pacquiao, the more I watch him, the more I think he's got an amazing right hand for southpaw. I mean, my God, does he throw right hooks and combinations, and he snaps the right jab, and he does stuff that southpaws just don't do. And he's a very, very tough guy to fight.
What I liked about it is I thought he fought an intelligent fight. He used his hand speed, he used his angles, he darted in, darted out, and he didn't push it. He could have taken a little more chances, but he learned his lesson from the last fight, and I really believe, and I know everybody says this, Harold, but. I really think that if Floyd doesn't fight him, that 10 years from now, people are going to say he didn't. It's going to blemish it. What do you think, man?
I agree with you 100%. You're so right. Billy, you're a great boxing man. You really know boxing, and let me tell you, you're so right. There's no doubt about it. Floyd Mayweather's got to fight him. I mean, nobody wants to see Floyd Mayweather fight a real old Manny Pacquiao, and nobody wants to see Manny Pacquiao fight a real old Floyd Mayweather. So these guys are pushing 40. They got to get together now. I mean, who in God's name wants to see a Amir Khan? That's a joke. I hate to say it. They got to work it out somehow. I mean, after all, they did the impossible. They worked it out so that Lennox Lewis fought Mike Tyson. Now they got to do it again, and that's all there is to it. The world wants Pacquiao and Mayweather, and that's the fight that they should really make. They got rid of Lucas Matisse. Danny Garcia's probably not ready. So everybody wants to see Floyd fight, Manny Pacquiao. It would be a sensational fight. One of those two guys would come out with a tremendous legend. I mean, whatever they're looking for. But, it really would be a great fight, and I'd love to see it. Now, I have an interesting comment, okay? And my interesting comment is this, Billy, and I wanted to know what you thought. If I were George Groves, you know what I would do? I would take it as a win. I would say, you know what? I won the fight. I ain't fight this guy again. The hell with it. I'm going to go on. I'm going to call James Prince tomorrow, and see if I could take a step up and challenge Andre Ward. Why not? Andre Ward came back with Edwin Rodriguez, had the 14-month layoff, right? Had the shoulder surgery. Looked very, very good. I mean, if I were George Groves, I would just consider that a win. Because, he's winning the fight, from beginning to end. Everybody in the world knew it was a quick stoppage. If you're a referee, you stop a fight because a guy's health is in danger. A guy's really getting beat up. He could really seriously get hurt. Did anybody in the world think that George Groves' health was in danger at the point that Howard forced to stop the fight? No! And he was ahead by 1 point, which was a joke. On 2 scorecards, and he was ahead by a decent amount on the third. But everybody knew he was ahead, and everybody knew he won the fight, and what do you call it? I was just, look to move up, and moving up is Andre Ward, and that's what I would go for. I'll tell you, if I were Eddie Hearn, I'd be on the phone to Dan Goosen tomorrow and say, let's do the fight. What do we got to lose?
That's a good point. I think that a rematch...
Yeah, why should Groves step backwards? Take the fight as a win.
Well,
move up, go forward.
Well,
it's a fight everybody would love to see. Look, nobody wants to see Andre Ward go to 75 right now because he's a 68-pounder. He's a 68-pounder. GGG is a 60-pounder. Let guys stay in their own division and fight the best in their own division. And right now, nobody's seen George Groves really lose a fight. He's a young kid. He's a handsome kid. He's a young kid. He's got a magnificent personality. He was terrific in all those post-fight interviews because I watched all of them on YouTube. This is a kid with a lot of personality. This is a kid that can fight. Let him step in with Andre. I think it will be great. And you don't have the golden boy Arab nonsense promoter baloney. I mean.
Well, let me
Dan Goosen can work with Eddie Hearn. They like each other. It'll be super.
Let me ask you this, Harold. Do you think that he could make more money fighting Andre Ward, let's say on HBO, than he could in a rematch in England with Froch?
Who the heck cares? So he makes $1 million more, $1 million less. They even it out in taxes anyway. Who cares? I mean, they make so much money. It will be such a good payday for the both of them. So whether he makes $1 million less, $1 million more, it's a fight that the public wants to see. If he would beat Andre Ward, can you imagine what that would do for him? It would make him the top 168-pound fighter in the world. He'd make it up 1 million times over. On the other hand, if he lost, I'm sure he'd put up a great performance. and then I'll go back. I'll fight Carl Fresh again.
Let me ask you a question on the stoppage real quick. In lieu of what has taken place in the last month or so in the sport, the unfortunate situation with Mago Abdulzamov, the fighter that fought Jorge Arce was in critical condition, and of course Leal, who passed away as a result of a battering in the ring. Do you think that the referee was thinking of something like that, or he could have just said, "Hey, counted as at a knockdown that the ropes were keeping him up," and try to let him continue? I mean, do you think any of that came into play?
No, I think he just blew the call. I mean, like I said before, Billy, if you're a referee, you're in there looking out for safety. And there was just no way that George Groves would have got hurt. He wasn't badly hurt. It wasn't a situation with Magomed, where Magomed's head was swollen. Everybody was yelling, stop the fight in the 7th round. I mean, what do you call it? Jim Lampley on TV and Max Kellerman were yelling, stop the fight about the 6th or 7th round. The guy's head was swollen. Anyway, Groves wasn't hurt. It was just a quick stoppage, and that's all it was to it. I guess he was thinking that maybe Groves was hurt, because really, that's why you stop a fight if you're a referee. You stop a fight because you're afraid that the guy's safety is in danger. You're worried that the guy is hurt. He could be hurt worse. And there was no chance that George Groves was hurt in this fight. It was just a quick stoppage. I mean, really, the referee blew the call. That's all there was to it. So now, if I were Groves, I would say, you know what, guys? I won this fight. The world knows I won this fight. Let's move ahead. Let's call Andre Ward. What do we got to lose? Does Andre Ward have a fight at 168 against an opponent that he hasn't beaten? No, he beat everybody. Now we got a kid that's a young kid, that's a dynamic kid. So the kid goes in an 8-1 underdog. Big deal. He'll give Andre a fight. I mean, he'll stand there and he'll battle with him, I think it would be sensational.
I think you got a point there, Harold. Hey,
sure,
I got
absolutely. I have a point. We see how great Andre is, and if George Groves wins, God bless him. That makes him the number 1 guy in the world at 168. Then Andre go to 175 and start beating Sergey Kovalev.
Yep. No, and you're right about the money thing. Groves would be in the driver's seat. Hey, one last question I got for you, Harold. Tonight, Antonio returns. This time as a heavyweight. I personally. Nothing against Antonio Tarver or anything, but I really don't have much of an interest in watching him. What's your thoughts? I mean, do you think
21? I know.
Yeah, do you think he's making the right decision? I mean, is there a reason for him to come back? I mean, what's your thoughts on him coming back and his fight tonight?
Billy, I got to tell you, when I see these older fighters, James Toney, Roy Jones, Antonio Tarver, when I see these guys coming back, in my mind, the only reason that they could be coming back, and the truth of the matter is I really don't know for sure. I'm only speculating. I got to speculate that it's money. Yeah. It's the only reason they could be fighting. Tarver's coming back at 221. That's awful heavy for Antonio Tarver. 221. Obviously he's got a very mediocre opponent. He should win. We'll see how he looks tonight. We'll see where he goes from here. I was definitely against Roy coming back to fight Bobby Gunn. But, I guess you heard the fight's off. So I'm glad we got that out of the way. James Toney looked terrible from what I understand in the prize fighter tournament the other night. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with Tarver. But if I were Antonio, if I had any dollars in the bank and I didn't know any taxes, I would get out. I mean, I'm sure he still got money coming in from when he was Mason Dixon in the Rocky movies. And, the guy had a great career with Showtime as a commentator. I'm sure he'll catch on somewhere as a commentator. There's a lot of stations all of a sudden popping up, whether it's Fox Sports 1 or NBC Sports or wherever. He is a good commentator. He is a good analyst, no doubt about it. I'm sure he's not going to have a hard time making a living. I bet he'll make a darn good trainer in the Florida area, along with people like Dan Birmingham. So, I'm sure that Antonio could make a living no matter what he does. I don't think he needs boxing anymore. I really don't think he needs to get hit in the head. But, hey, look, you can't stop a guy from doing what he wants to do. So, we'll see what happens tonight. Be interesting. I hope everybody watches Fox Sports 1 tonight. Now, who is it? They got Daniel Brazil, the Olympic heavyweight kid, and then they got Antonio Tarver. It's going to be an interesting show tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and then they got another one tomorrow. I mean, we're definitely in a resurgence, and you say all these things are popping up. I can't get my ass on any of them, you know. I mean, they want guys like Tarver.
Who do you want to fight?
No, I don't want to fight. I want to be ringside. I want to sit where you, man. I want to sit near you. You know, I want to be at all these big things. You know, that must have been outrageous in China. I mean, that had to be something cool, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you, that's some hotel. My God, you got to be able to walk for miles in that hotel. The Venetian hotel's absolutely enormous. The trip is rough. You know, you got to take a long plane ride, then you got to take a ferry ride, and then you got to get a car from the ferry. So, you know, all in all, it's an awful lot of traveling. There's no question, but it's a gorgeous facility. The arena itself holds about 15,000 people. Hotel is magnificent. The rooms are magnificent, and they treat you fabulous. But like I say, it's an awful long ride.
Well, listen, Harold, this was a pleasant surprise, and, man, you call me anytime, my man, because you know I love hearing from you.
Thank you, Billy C. It's always great to talk to you because you're the best, that's for sure.
Well, I appreciate the accolades, and you know how I feel.
And a happy and healthy Thanksgiving.
You too, my man. You too. Have a great one, you and yours, all right? And call me anytime, my man.
Will do. Good night now.
Thanks a lot, Harold. That's my main man, Harold Letterman, calling in. Shocked us. I didn't even know he was going to call. And I love it, man. I love getting calls like that, especially from a guy that I like as much as Harold. And, you know, we weren't able to listen to the broadcast, but I saw every time Harold's scorecard came up, you know, I'm like, well, you know, if Harold's scoring it like this, I know that what I'm seeing is what I'm, you know, seeing. You know, I'm seeing what I'm seeing if Harold's card is matching what I'm seeing. So, but anyway, I did want to talk about the Antonio Tarver fight tonight on Fox 1 Sports. You know, I'm going to watch it, and I will be talking about it tomorrow. I'm not so sure it's going to be competitive, but we'll have to wait and see. And then tomorrow we got the Anthony Mundine and Sugar Shane Mosley fight. And then we also have a fight that's taking place in the Chicago area with a Bobby Hitz card. Then we got some other fights, of course, over the weekend. So we got a busy few days here, and uncharacteristic of today's sport to have it almost every day of the week. It reminds me of the way the sport used to be back in the day, similar to this great new book that I'm reading that I read with the gentleman boxer, Ian Grumeza. I keep telling you guys to get a copy, and you'd learn a lot. Hey, one fight that won't be happening this weekend is Nathan Cleverly. He got a back injury, had to pull out of the fight. Man, you know, we are in a clear resurgence in the sport this year. There's no question about it, and it appears that we're going to continue this resurgence as time goes on, and that we're going to, you know, go into 2014 running, man. We're going to be going good. But do you think that this year has to be? I mean, in my opinion, off the top of my head, I don't have any data in front of me, but off the top of my head, I bet you this is in recent times, one of the most worst years for fighters pulling out of fights due to injury, and so many have pulled out close to the fight, you know. But anyway, my man, Given Quality, had a comment, and I want to relay it because I want to give him the time. He asked me, do I think that Manny Pacquiao's performance and style of his attack, he wanted to know if I've ever seen that much holding from him. He definitely had been watching Ward fights. Pac used way more foot movement than he thought he would, but it was a good 10 rounds. He scored it 10 rounds to 2. You know, GQ, I'm going to say this real quick, and then I got my man Dax on the line, but I want to say this. You know, the majority, I don't know if you were listening to the whole show, but the majority of the people that we were doing our fight night special with felt the fight was boring. But when I asked them, well, did you think the Floyd Mayweather fight with Saul Canelo Alvarez was boring? They said no. And, I thought it was a joke because I know you're a big Mayweather fan, but the realistic view here is both fights were one-sided fights, and they were both exciting. You know, they were entertaining one-sided fights. Why is it okay for Floyd to have a one-sided fight, and it wasn't okay for my man Manny Pacquiao. But anyway, joining us right now, Dax Khan is on the line. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's going on? It was a great weekend of fights, wasn't it?
I thought so, but I apparently some people didn't think that the Floyd fight was. That the Manny Pacquiao fight was as exciting as the Floyd fight. I thought it was, man. And by the way, your assessment of what took place the other night during our broadcast was fantastic. I got to give you kudos on air for that, my man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It was, just when you watched Brandon Rios in the dressing room for the first time ever, Brandon Rios was actually nervous. It was on his face. It was in his voice. He sounded shaky. I think the big stage just got to him. I love what Angelica McQueen had put out there on Facebook there about with the big smile on Oscar. I sold Brandon Rios my blueprint on how to beat Pacquiao. But I think Manny looked great. And just a comment to what was said in the chat room by GQ about Manny using his legs. I think that, considering his age and, what happened the last time, I think that, it might have been a good thing. Manny doesn't have a lot of years left to fight. He's had a long career. But, he's being a little bit smarter on, I got to stay away from that big punch. And the fact that I still can use my legs, let me use it. Let me get a couple big wins. And hopefully, if he gets one more big win, then that will, entice Mayweather to get into the ring. Other than that, I think it was a great weekend of fights altogether. As for the Frotch, I just wanted to call in and really speak about the Frotch Groves fight. Frotch, he wasn't really landing any of those punches too solidly. If you see, he missed a lot. The hardest ones came to the back of the head. Not that he was doing it purposely, but, you hit it right on the head when you were speaking with Harold. Considering all the things that have gone on lately in boxing, we just had somebody die. We had Mago, who just got put back into his coma the other day. If you were a referee, would you want to be the guy to have to sit there and, have that on your conscience and say to yourself, you know what, I should have stopped it that one punch, if I would have stopped it earlier, you know what, this couldn't have happened.
Yeah, you wonder about that. But hey, Dax, I appreciate your call. I'm going to grab one more call here, so I'll talk to you later on. All right, my man? Yeah,
and you know what? By the way, I got to agree with what that ghost said about you. But, everybody can watch the replay on LDL-TV. You know what? You're still my main man, even though you got like 55 other main men, everybody you talk to.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you later. All right, take care. Joining us right now, I think I got my other main man, Larry Hazard, on the phone. Is that you, Larry?
Yeah, that's me.
Hey, man, Dax was just on the line with us, and we're wrapping up the show here, but I saw you pop up, and I wanted to say, hey, I appreciate you calling in, my man.
Well, you have such an interesting conversation going on tonight. I just didn't want to miss it.
What's your thoughts on the Pacquiao performance? Did you think, like me, I thought it was a good performance. I think people need to give him credit. I'm shocked that people are saying it was a boring fight. Yes, it was a one-sided fight. There's no question. But I think Rios tried hard. I just think that Manny Pacquiao, what people just don't understand is that here's a guy with some hand speed and throws punches at all different angles, and he's able to use his footwork. And all you got to do is look at the beating. I've never seen Rios take such a beating. What's your thoughts real quick on the fight?
Well, he gave him a classic boxing lesson. And, people have come to expect a lot more. They want to see that nonstop action, especially since it's pay-per-view. They feel like they're paying for it. They want to see nonstop action. And they've lost their appreciation for the classic boxing. I think that Pacquiao was on his game all the way. Over time, a fighter just can't turn in the same types of performances nonstop over and over and over. He got knocked out. He had to be a little cautious. But I think that he put on a terrific display of skills, that hand speed, his movement, ring generalship. I think he really showed, those fine points of scoring Pacquiao pretty much demonstrated it all on Saturday night. Rios just couldn't get started. He himself said that the hand speed was just too much to overcome.
Yeah.
So I was satisfied with the performance because I like classic boxing. I don't always have to see a knockout. I like a knockout if the knockout presents itself, but once that fighter, once the dominant fighter, gets the point across that he's in charge, and I think that's what Pacquiao did. I didn't give him a round. I was like Harold Letterman. I didn't give Rios not one single round.
Yeah, I gave him one. I had given him one round. It was a close round. It was one of those, I'll be honest, it was one of those courtesy rounds, But the truth of the matter is I agree with you that it was a boring fight because Rios didn't do anything, but yet I asked flat out the night we did our thing, did you think, I said, did you think the Mayweather-Alvarez fight was exciting? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, well, how could you say that? It was almost the same thing. It was a one-sided. I gave one round to Alvarez, and I just didn't understand the thought process.
Yeah, all Mayweather's fights are boring, okay? And that's, see, boxers, highly skilled fighters, have a tendency of being boring because their skills are just so much greater than their opponents that the fight appears to be boring because the fight looks one-sided because one fighter has such a greater level of exceptional skills over the other fighter. And that's what you have with Mayweather and Pacquiao for the fighters that they fight. Their skills are just so much greater than their opponents that their fights appear to be boring.
Yeah, I agree.
And if you look back historically, if you think back, I think you and I had a conversation not long ago. How many fights did you look at with Jack Johnson where they thought he was very boring?
A lot.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot, because he toyed with his opposition, and
they toy with the opposition. They're totally in control of each round, and the fights just appear to be boring. When the matches are more evenly, when fighters are more evenly matched, then that makes for more exciting fights. But these two guys, Pacquiao and Mayweather, they're head and shoulders above all of the opponents in their weight class. They're head and shoulders above. I think it's going to be a great disservice to the sport of boxing if these two guys don't hurry up and fight each other.
I agree. They have to make this fight, and Floyd will forever, ever regret it if he doesn't. Larry, we got to wrap up the show. Thank you very much for calling us on the cuff like this. And if I don't get a chance to talk to you tomorrow, make sure you and yours have a great Thanksgiving. Okay, my man?
Okay, same to you and yours, Billy.
All right, Larry. Thanks for calling. Take care. That's my man, Larry Hazard. And, hey, we got 2 surprise calls, actually 3, including my man, Dax. So, and if you missed the show on Saturday night, make sure you give it a call. Hey, listen, I'm going to jump. We got our trivia question, but I'm out of time. So I'm going to jump right into this.
This day in boxing history.
And today's This Day in Boxing History is being brought to us by a great book, Ian Grumeza's Gentleman Boxer. You got to get yourself a copy of that. Visit his website, www.iangrumeza.com, and also the Titty Grab Game. Check it out, www.tittygrab.com. On this day, November 26th in 1908, Stanley Ketchel knocks out Billy Papke in the 11th round to win the world middleweight title. It took place in Colma, California. On this day, November 26th in 1977, Su Huan Hong knocks out Hector Quaraquilo in the 3rd round to win the newly created WBA World Junior Featherweight title. It took place in Panama City. On this day in 1954, Pascal Perez wins a 15-round decision over Yoshiro Shirari to win the World Flyweight title. It took place in Tokyo. On this day in 1920, Benny Leonard stops Joe Welling in the 14th round to retain his World Light Heavyweight title. It took place at Madison Square Garden in New York City. On this day in 1982, Larry Holmes wins a 15-round decision over Randall Tex Cobb to retain the his WBC World Heavyweight title. Took place in Houston at the Astrodome in Texas. And finally, on this day in 1914, Sam Langford knocks out Harry Wills in the 14th round of a scheduled 20-rounder. It was in a heavyweight division in Vernon, California. He retained his world-colored heavyweight title. This was a brutal fight from start to finish in which both fighters hit the ground, or canvas, if you will, multiple times. Hey, man, I got one more thing to say. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow evening, same bat time, same bat channel. We know the channel. It's Fight Now. Check out their website, www.fightnow.com. Tell them Billy C sent you. We'll see you tomorrow. Ciao, baby.